grenades. They can keep up with the poke. Bottom lane pushing a little bit, but looks like that weapon wave should be expiring pretty soon. Yeah, it's very low on health.
Yeah, the one at the top is already gone, and the one at the bot lane is not going to survive much longer. But still, this game is now 25, 26 minutes in, 66% on Method's core. They bought themselves a bit of space on the map, so all the lanes need to be pushed out again. But they haven't taken out the keep in the mid lane. And that, of course, puts us into a very similar position that we were earlier. There's the cleanse happening. Again, timed, of course, properly towards the end of Chromie's time loop to make sure that it actually also triggers. If you're a bit of a newer player to Heroes of the Storm, never cleanse a time loop right when it starts.
Yeah, it takes, I believe, 1.5 seconds for it to come out, and the cleanse is only up for a second. So you can actually miss out on your teammate getting tossed back. Method continues to posture outside. They're doing this to be able to, 1, collect gems, and 2, to keep Zealots on their side of the map. If Zealots are able to get control again, they took a lot of work just to get control themselves, so they don't want to give it up.
From Zealots' perspective, this must be a really frustrating position because they worked hard for where they are, and they are now in a spot where it's just insanely frustrating because Method still hasn't lost this. And keep in mind what happened on the last map. Dominant performance by Zealots for a long time, and then Method finds one more combo and all of a sudden the game's over. And that was in a similar scenario where the core was actually even lower than here. So right now, Zealots is just thinking, guys, just play this safe, play this smart, rotate, poke, make sure that if we see an opening, we try and get a kill here. But keep in mind, we have the lanes pushing against our opponent, and time makes these catapults stronger, and that works in our favor.
What's amazing to me is how both teams are fighting for every single gem, trying to control the gems that are dropped here by the spider mines. We actually had a point where Method was able to have a little bit more than Zealots. Zealots had to group up as 5 just to push out in the middle and start grabbing them there for the Diablo. Giants grabbed here on the bottom lane, so that will help push out this bottom side as Method and crew continue to dance around, trying to constrain Zealots. It's weird because they have to be grouped up, but not completely grouped, due to the ability for Hanzo to land that Dragon's Arrow at any point.
Yeah. Big problem is really that the late game kill potential that we now have from Method is just insanely strong. Also, just to put something else in perspective, Chromie has 45 stacks on the Sandblast Quest. It's not completed yet.
Wow.
And therefore also not really sitting at a massive damage output. We have Chromie at 50,000 damage, Hanzo is sitting at 69k, and Tracer is currently taking the top position with 74,000. That's a big problem here, that this late in the game, not even the quest is completed. So if that was the case, then they had a bit more pressure against them. But now here comes the push in the mid lane, thanks to the aura. And if they get this keep now as well, that would make the whole setup for Method even more difficult. But of course, Method is here to defend it. They need to.
Yep, doing their best to slow them down. And speaking of stacks, where we're at 56 here on Diablo, so he's getting a little bit more tankier, but not close to that ability to reset.
And another problem here, boss is up again. And that's more so a problem for Method than it is for Zealots, because it means at the same time that if the fight or the entire setup that we are currently seeing, that balance shifts towards the top lane, the bot lane will just push through, and that forces the rotation of Junkrat down to the bottom over and over again, where Zealots will see a few opportunities to maybe engage fights if they get a good stun through Diablo, or maybe through someone like Hanzo with an arrow.
Getting to a point here, if that boss is grabbed, or even a turn in here, we're in here 30 minutes. Definitely scaling up to be very dangerous in the game.
I mean, there's a couple of ways you can really look at this right now. First of all, of course, a kill. You can look for a kill, and if you make that happen, then that could immediately end the game. Just get one kill, take it from there. It will allow you to either push a lane, push a boss, or do something along those lines. But if you want to out macro, that's really where Zealots have another opportunity. They can shift the entire battle towards the top lane, can posture around boss, can try and control the turning point at the same time, and eventually Method will have to send someone down. That's the long play here, but we are now nearly 30 minutes into this game, and catapults at this point are hitting like a truck. It's actually insane how strong these things are. So if 1 or 2 of these catapults are making it towards the core, if at any point maybe even 3 hit it, then Method would have to have someone in position immediately or it's down. But here comes the engage, and that is actually barely Ethereal moving out as the Apocalypse was about to hit him. Mopsio is about to die, but able to get out with a Hellgate. So far, the fight has not cost any lives just yet, but top lane is heavily pushing against Method. They need to go back, and they need to do it fast. Those are 2 of the catapults that we talked about, and this is now both of them locking onto the core, and they need to have Junkrat in position. The shields are already falling, and they're going to lose a few more points here. Oh, that could be Ethereal, but he's able to get out. Here comes on the... Okay, turns.
Gets the recall as well.
What is Junkrat doing?
I don't think he realized that top catapult was still left alone. He's waiting for the minions to clear it up. He was clearing bottom lane that entire time.
But bottom lane wasn't holding on the core yet, so I think he didn't realize how close they were.
I assumed that he thought they were going to get cleaned up by the minions, but
wow. They didn't die, but they just lost another 30%.
And now we're in a position where Zealots can backdoor if they're ever in a position where they're able to sneak around. Mopsio taking some pressure here on the front side, Arcaner as well.
They're just disengaging here, trying to.
Yeah, trying to get Junkrat and crew to miss out on this bottom lane that's pushing in the catapults.
Both of the teams don't have enough gems for a turn.
This is a war of attrition between the two. Junkrat finally goes back to the bottom lane, and now he has to keep a watchful eye on those catapults. You cannot afford another mistake, like we just saw.
I mean, it gets worse as the game continues, and now the camp at the bot lane is taken too, so they have to keep someone here. Mopsio is still looking for that angle. They're still looking for that kill. Here comes Arcana, pushed into the wall, and immediately the follow-up. Also, Bunker as a defensive tool is there. Hanzo committing with the arrow as well. They're trying to go for Tracer again, attempting to drop Shad. That's not quite happening. Ethereal needs to be careful. So is Shad. Apocalypse comes out, trying to zone a bit more. Top lane again pushing, but still a bit away from the core, so some time for Method to work around this. But that's the thing. Method is the team that is constantly under pressure because of these lanes pushing. So they are the ones who have to force something even more than Zealots.
They have to make less mistakes than Zealots right now. Zealots not falling victim there. Chris was being chased down by Ethereal, but able to survive. Mopsio getting chunked down to half health, but he's at least 85 stacks here on his soul, so able to regen a decent amount of health. Nick finally over here clears up those catapults at the top lane, but we're getting closer and closer to that turn-in available. Mostly here for Method. 55 out of the 65 gems. They just need 10 more, and they'll collect a few in the middle. Zealots have made the call, though. They're moving straight up towards the boss.
They're going for the boss. They have Chris here, and they're trying to sneak it, but Method knows it, so they are rotating. I don't think that a boss grab like this is ever really going to happen. Both of them are going to threaten it, but I don't really think you bet your life in this game on grabbing that boss away from your opponent.
You're just pulling Method up to the top side.
Yeah, exactly. You're pulling Method up to the top, and then the bot lane can push through even harder. But this is just still a poke war. Oh my god, if he dies here, Tassadar falls, that would potentially be game. Arcana is going for the mosh, but immediately Stukov is there, interrupts it right away. Bunker on the ground as they're trying to go for a quick kill. Arcana once again into the backline. ADRD is in trouble, the timeout. He might fall here right away. Mopsio is also nearly dead. Diablo down, but he'll be back. But Blaze will not be. Neither will Chromie. Did Method just win the game again 33 minutes in after being completely put on the back foot for the entire duration of the match?
Can they get Shad? No. Okay, Shad's able to get away. So now Method turns around and grabs a boss. This boss can secure them this victory easily here. 7 more gems as well, which Junkrat can pick up. They can go for a Web Weaver turn in at the same time. I think they may have just won the game, Caldor. They're going for all the plays here to do so. Shad's going to be up here on this top middle side to scout out that boss being grabbed. He can't afford to fall victim, but they also can't afford to give it up.
Here comes Hanzo, and this is a scary area to go up against Hanzo. But if they get Shad here, that would be it. Shad attacked, and he is down. Only Chris is still in the game. Catapults at the bottom. Junkrat is already on the run once again. We're 34 minutes into the game. 28% on the core of Method as they go for the boss and take it up at the top. Most of the Zealots will be back to try and defend, but this is just getting insane. No backdoor attempts here, since they just don't have the pressure against the core. But this is just crazy.
Can they defend this?
I mean, arguably Method shouldn't already have won the first game, but now they're just doing the same thing again. This is insane what kind of comeback potential this team has right now. This is brutal.
Method is going to push this boss here. They have not turned in. That is something to know here, Caldor. This boss is pretty healthy, but it is getting chunked down pretty quickly. Chris and Chromie doing their best to clear it out. Finally finishes that quest, by the way, at 35 minutes.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's impressive. Absolutely destroying there.
That's impressive in its own right.
Mopsio goes in, jumps into the bunker, and it looks like this boss may get cleaned up, and Method aren't able to get a kill, but they still have that turn-in on the backside they can go do.
And they just took a keep, and that's important because that relieves a lot of the pressure they've been feeling.
Chromie combo. Arcaner gets hit, but the shield comes out and he's just fine.
I can't believe the game isn't over.
They could go and get this turn in here. I was expecting him to go a little bit earlier. Okay, here it goes. Dropping off those gems. Chromie in the middle lane. Will she try to poke? Gems being dropped off, and it looks like they're going to secure it.
Level 26 versus level 24. Red Web Weavers. Okay. That should mean keep in the mid lane, at least. And, I mean, this is just crazy. So this is really the moment where Method should be making their play for the game itself. And Zealots know that too. They are going to look for some kind of combo. The problem is that Hanzo's arrow is still on a 15-second cooldown. That makes it pretty difficult. But just look at the web weavers, how far they travel, despite the fact that the bot lane, for example, was pushed out very heavily. They really just took all of the waves away before they even got the turn in. And now the keep in the mid lane is going to fall. Method is really starting to take a significant lead in this from a structural perspective, which is amazing to me. 36 minutes into the game, and the Zealots are all of a sudden the ones defending here.
And in the meanwhile, the web weaver in the top lane is nice and healthy and starting to push in this top side and not be getting straight towards the core. Method dancing around, watching out for any chromie combos. Don't want to get caught by Diablo either. Doing their best here to play smart around the walls. Finally, Archon is popped, and Method's going to move in. They look for Zarmany. They chunk him down. Apocalypse comes out. It will hit. Junkrat to cleanse hits. A Thorough will be the next target as Mopsio dives in.
They're trying to go for it. They're trying to get a couple of kills here. Once again, Tassadar, but he's able to move away with a dimensional shift. The core only scratch, not down. Here comes the mosh pit attempt at least, but immediately Diablo has their back. Now he's down though, but he had the jump. He had the souls again. Can move in once more. Shad still with a shove. Tracer is completely out of the fight, but so is Shad as he goes down. Zarmany is low, goes in with the jet propulsion, does not have the bunker ready and moves away. The shield on the side of the Zealot's core is currently falling as we're seeing Method trying to go for the quick kill here in the game. All of the keeps have already been eliminated. The only one standing in the entire game is on Method's side in the mid lane. The core is starting to fall as Method is trying to win the game right here, right now.
They're playing around the Tassadar shields. There's a mosh pit on the bottom left. It's going to be Mopsio. Diablo is going to be taken out, and he has no souls for a reset. 2 members are down for Zealots. Bunker being popped, but Method turns to the core, and they're going to do it. They're going to come back in this incredible series. 37 minutes and 31 seconds. Method with a victory, and they go up 2-0.
Method with a casual 2-0 against Zealots.
Casual, complete dominance, and no way did we ever think they were going to lose that series. I can't believe that. The resilience, them holding in, watching the boss, Junkrat constantly watching out for the flanks, even missing out on some catapults in the top lane, which gave me a bit of a heart attack. And Method, through it all, are able to take down the Zealots there and get a second win. Incredible.
I honestly hope that the Zealots have some spare keyboards.
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure that 1 or 2 just broke.
Well, Zealots are going to go out and buy a couple more keyboards. We'll be right back with game number 3, and we'll see how this series will conclude. Will Method be able to get to 3-0, or will we have a spot where Zealots somehow get a win for themselves? We'll be right back.
Keep up with your favorite players and teams on the official HGC website for desktop and mobile. Stats, archived matches, and everything you need to stay up to date with the global Heroes of the Storm Esports League. Watch live on game days and upgrade your Heroes of the Storm knowledge. 2018 promises to be the best year yet. Look for expanded statistics, enhanced viewing experiences, and more on your home for the HGC.
This poor town has seen its share of trials. Now we face a new force, sinuous and vile.
The way ahead is haunted, our hackles stand on end.
We'll make our stand right here, our choice is crystal clear. We are the beasts, the monsters fear.
The Zerg are preparing an assault against us. I need your help to defend this base. Here they come. Put on your big girl pants. Do not forget about the Archangel. It could vaporize us any moment.
Initialization complete.
The side disruption pulse is almost ready. We've done it! The Zerg are gone! Ah, I am so happy I could kiss every last one of you. Except you. You go over there.
Welcome back. One of our teams seem to have found a new method to earning victories by waiting out their opponent and then getting a big win at the end. Which team would that be, Kaldor?
Could it be that it's Method? I mean, they seem to have a little bit of a trick where they are just dragging the game out.
Yeah.
Until the opponent is so frustrated. They didn't really give it away or anything. You can't say that either. It's just like, it's insane.
Was
I don't know what's happening there.
Close 10 series. Zealots in a position in both games where they were so far ahead where it felt like, all right, game's coming into conclusion. They just need to find a kill, go for the core, and win the game. But the thing is, Method never gave up that kill. And they found out that if they're able to hold it long enough, eventually they find their own takedowns against their opponent, and they're able to steal away a couple of wins. And I think steal is a proper word here. They've gotten 2 really good wins by earning those at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is also, the defense that they had was great. There were a couple of pushes with web weavers, with camps, where I was just like, okay, this could potentially end the game, but at least another few structures are going to fall, and then nothing happens. Defense just absolutely amazing. So great calls here on the side of Method. I have no idea how they did it, but the comebacks that they are pulling off at this point are absolutely crazy, and we have all of that happening in one series. The one thing that still concerns me slightly is that if you look at the results, this is pretty clean-cut, 2-0.
Yeah.
If you look at how the games went, you can really make a very good argument that both of those games could have ended in Zealots' favor.
Exactly.
So, because both of them were for a long period of time really dominated by Zealots. And the big question now is, can Method doesn't do it a third time?
Well, let's find out as we go to game number 3. The battleground has been chosen, and we'll see if Zealots can take that early game and mid game they've actually been doing really well in and end the series. Ooh, they actually in a position where we're going to Sky Temple, a battleground that's been pretty strong for Zealots in the past, but Method feeling a little bit comfortable here. They're going to pick it for themselves.
And we also know one thing. This is not going to be a 30-minute game.
Yeah.
So thanks to the objective here, we can be pretty safe to say that this is going to end a little bit faster.
If this game goes to 30 minutes, I think Caldor will eat his left shoe. You don't do that on Sky Temple. I was going to make the bet, then I'm like, wait a minute, it's Method versus Zealots. We'll put it on
okay, yeah, thanks. Push it over to you.
No, let's push it over to you, man. So Sky Temple, a map all about that team fight in the early game, who can control those temples, and of course take the early game lead. If we go by trends, in game 1 and game number 2, I would say that Zealots were usually in the lead, and they were in a position where they were in commanding power. I feel like going into Sky Temple, if they can replicate that, this should be a battleground where they take away a win here against Method. So I'm actually kind of interested to see why Method has gone here themselves. They must have something planned.
Yeah, they definitely have to. And also, drafting is now going to be easy. I feel for Zealots, at least they have now the opportunity to take the short break that we had, just calm down a little bit. Because I can't even imagine how they must feel at this point. They were probably already a bit tilted after the first game, just thinking, did this really just happen? Did we just lose the game that we just completely dominated from start to finish? And then it happens again on Tomb in a 35-minute game. Yeah. And those 35-minute games, they are intense in Heroes. This is, how often do you play a game that long in the competitive scene? It's crazy.
We actually saw it towards the end there where the team fight started to get a little bit jumbly because you're just trying so hard to make sure, A, you're not falling apart, but you're also trying to stop your opponent. Like we had that Riptire come out, the Riptire connected, APOC was used a little bit late trying to interrupt it as it had been used consistently the entire game. It really does put mental wear on you going that far into the late game. So we'll have to see if that break was good enough for both of our teams to reset here, approach game number 3 as a clean slate as we gear up for this draft. Is there anything important that you expect to see on this battleground?
After seeing map 1 and 2, not anymore, no. The one thing that we could really see is maybe a focus on a bit more macro play, but that has been, through the meta, largely been replaced because of the way that the games play right now, but we don't see a lot of false stat, Dehaka anymore. We see maybe a bit of ATC with the stage dive every now and then. And also Method just played a comp that I didn't expect from the get-go. The Tassadar and, earlier already, the double support setup that we had.
And it worked out too. Both mobile heroes taken away, Genji and Tracer. Garrosh for the first time in this series will be left up and available. Zealots considering whether they want to pick it up or not, and the answer is immediately yes. We are going in for the Garrosh. Mobsio back on the warrior that he enjoys playing.
That's also something that I feel Method probably expect. Look at the bans that we saw so far from Method. Method bans Garrosh first in both of the games before, knowing fully well how much Zealots prioritize Garrosh, how much they want them. They themselves picked Tracer in both of the games in their own rotation. But right now they find themselves in a position where they, instead of Garrosh, ban out a Tracer, so apparently no plans of playing her as themselves. They needed to know that Garrosh was taken. Yep. There's just no way, I think, that Method really believed the Zealots would not take Garrosh here.
Do we see a world where we get that double support again here? Are they thinking about grabbing the Tassadar early? Maybe mix it with the Hanzo this time? Poke it down?
I really don't know. I think Hanzo was one of the heroes that definitely jumps to mind when you look at the setup, but then you also think about the 2 supports that we usually want to see here. And the Stukov versus Malfurion battle is still a big one. And you also want to... The double support could come in... Ooh, Greymane as a first rotation pick.
With Abathur.
Yeah.
Which I'm more interested in. We went through a phase where Abathur was bannable, or at least in a involvement rate very, very high in the first season, and then we come to these last couple weeks, and Abathur's fallen off a little bit. I think we got 1 game from ADRD. But Method coming out with the Greymane Abathur composition, looking to dive and shred.
Abathur doesn't shock me too much. I could have also seen that be picked up by Zealots later together with Garrosh again here, as they used it on the Clash, granted on a very different map. But then we have, I feel like one of the reasons why we actually see Greymane being picked is because you have Abathur, so that you can get the copy then later on. But that you would put such a high priority on Greymane is just super interesting to me, because in general he has just fallen off completely.
It looks like they have a plan here. Medivh and Dahaka picked up for Zealots. Dahaka goes up a little bit in priority when you see an Abathur composition, so he can control the push that Abathur will be trying to do on the side lanes, trying to nullify him, but also with it being Sky Temple, having that side split pusher, always being in a spot where you don't have to dance around the temple is always a powerful tool.
It's going to be a really curious one.
And it is.
But Zealots have pretty solid setup here already. Every single time I see them with Medivh and Garrosh, I still just believe in Zealots, but then again, the last 2 games have taught us otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, I still believe in them because they played well, but Method, have they found a new way to win games by just holding on to the late game? It's crazy to me that they won both of those and were able to hold on so well. Great shot calling, by the way. So Zeratul gets banned out by Zealots. Makes sense. You want to make sure that Medivh in the back line is able to do what he wants to do. When you have to deal with a Zeratul on his cooldowns, it becomes frustrating to escape.
I'm really interested in what Method is going to do.
Is it going to be a Tyrael? I mean, that's an old one, but that wouldn't be new. That would just be an old type of playstyle.
I mean, then again, if you look at the couple of the combos that they played so far, solo ETC on the last map with the double support, that's pretty much the old double support meta that we saw there.
Shrimby pulls out the old drafts from when he used to be on Fnatic. He has like a little book where it's already announced, so let's just go with these.
Shrimpy, we need to change something. All right, let me see what do I have. Bonus con 2000 okay.
Well, Tyrael, just speaking about him, would be good on this battleground. Again, this map control, boss control you have to think about.
I mean, you can go into the Tyrael composition. The question for me is just really, I have zero idea what we can expect from Method here. Because first of all, the swap that we have between Ethereal Angel and Arcana, that's one of the things where you don't know how limited the hero pool on the front line now is. And the next, Nubarak and Falstad. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. In no scenario that I could have come up with would I have said, okay, they're going to pick a Nubarak and or Falstad right now. Those would have been the last 2 heroes that would have named after Gazlo.
And you know that joke about old school Fnatic, like suddenly it seems kind of true right here. I mean, the Anura Cocoon combo was a Fnatic special with the Greymane. We talked about it in the first series. Falstad Globals on this battleground. Are we getting a Brightwing for the 5th pick?
That was my line.
Was it? Let's reset it here. I mean, Anubarak, old school Fnatic, and Falstad with the Mighty Gust. What could possibly come for the 5th pick?
It's just wait, they're going to go for Brightwing.
No way.
Just you wait, it's going to happen.
That would be insane. Zealots right now thinking about their 4th pickup, getting a little bit more damage on their side. I mean, if this was a new patch, if we were alive right now, I would say lock in that Phoenix, Planet Cracker, break down Abathur. But that's not payable here, so we have to think outside the box.
I also promise we're not trying to imitate Dumb and Dumber here. We're always like that.
All right, man. Li Ming coming in here to help out with that Cocoon, dropping that Incinerate. Always a good tool against that Anu. And Stukov for the final pickup. Okay, so we actually had this composition played.
Is Malfurion not going to be picked at all in this entire draft?
He can be picked here. Cocoon, even with Incinerate coming out, you can fall up at the root and make sure that you lock down a target.
Yeah, but Malfurion would be the normal thing to go for here.
Exactly.
So
Method's breaking rules.
I feel like one of the reasons why Zealots also pick Stukov is, first of all, that you know you're going up against Nubarak, and there's nothing worse than having a Cocoon straight into a silence. But I really want to know what the last pick is right now.
I'm just staring at that circle right now, waiting to see what pops in.
Because I can't even remember the last draft that we had where Malfurion didn't play a role. If that actually happens, that would be insane.
Now they're toying with us. I'm trying to think of what else.
Shrimby is just sitting there in comms and is like, that.
I mean, I never thought about the question of whether or not it's not a support.
Oh, we had that once already. It was Dignitas that played it.
The Samuru.
Okay, boys. We're ready. Bring it.
Wow. That just happened. Okay,
I can tell you what just happened. Twitch had just exploded. That just happened.
Okay, well, Method coming out with an unorthodox method of approaching the game here as we get ready for game on number 3. No support. Abathur, of course, has healing capabilities, so I guess you could say pseudo support, but in terms of a main healer, we are not getting one. It's going to be about dancing around their opponents here, and what battleground best to dance around your opponent? Sky Temple, one of those that if you're able to get a lead and you're able to distract them and constantly move around, you can break them down slowly but surely. Didn't think we would see it today, but Method says otherwise. You ready?
Yeah, I am definitely ready for this.
Let's go.
After the first 2 games, I'm very ready for whatever happens now.
I think Method just cured Caldor's head cold. He is not coughing anymore. He has no headache. It amplified the headache.
I wish. No, it didn't amplify the headache, but I still have a pretty massive headache.
Well, we're getting ready for game number 3. Hang on a second. We're about to jump into it. We'll see if this Samuro can be effective. We had Samuro. What was the last time we had a Samuro? Was that back at MSB with Fnatic? Will we be playing Samuro on BOE?
We had one on BOE at some point, but don't pin me down on the exact game.
That was, gosh, I feel like we haven't seen a Samuro in forever. Samuro, again, being able to split into mirror images,